Welcome to another episode of Tag Talks. I'm General Greg Johnson, and I'm the 63rd Adjutant General of the United States Army, and I'm very excited today to be surrounded by a group of some outstanding professionals that really do a lot of work for the Army and soldiers and units all around awards and decorations. So today we have three individuals that really help run the overarching Army's program for awards and decorations. And those three people are really the chief, Major Grecki Fielder, the Chief Warrant Officer for Wickstrom, and also Dennis Christensen. And both all three are here today to talk a little bit about the mission of ADB, or what we call ADB, the Army's Award and Decoration Branch here in the TAG. But they're also here to talk about some of the things that we're doing to take care of soldiers and new innovative things that we're pushing to take care of units and soldiers and commanders out in the Army. So let's just go around the horn. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the meat of the discussion about what you do for the Army. So Grecki, go ahead.
All right, good morning, sir, and thank you for the introduction. Major Grecki Fielder, Awards and Decorations Branch Chief. I've been in the job for about 19 months. And I've held various jobs from the tactical to enterprise level, with my most recent job being the Human Resource Operations Center Chief at 4th ID. So a little bit about our mission. In the Awards and Decorations Branch, we manage the Army's Awards and Decorations program. And so it is our job to enable Army leaders and ensure soldiers, veterans, family members, and civilians are provided timely and appropriate recognition for valorous acts, exceptional service, as well as their achievements. And so some of our essential tasks are just executing. We execute the proponent responsibilities for awards and decorations. So we're the proponent for AR 600-8-22, which is military awards. We manage delegations as well as exceptions to policy. We conduct the various awards boards, from unit awards boards to some of the senior level awards boards. We respond to congressional inquiries on behalf of the, SEC Army as well as the Army G1. And various other, senior level officials. And we process individual unit awards to include awards for foreign personnel and sister service concurrence and many other things.
Yeah, many other things. I mean, that's a whole heck of a lot. I wrote down a few things. I mean, the first thing that jumps out, you've been in your job 19 months. I mean, from an Army standard, I mean, that means you are the expert, running around the Army right now for awards. And I know we have your two other superstars on your team, but that's a lot of focus and time in a very, very tough job. And from my perspective, you're doing a pretty dang good job of doing all that you kind of outlined and talked about here. 608-22. Okay, you guys, I know you guys are working on it, right? It's been around for a little while, and it obviously has done a lot of updates, and you guys are working on that. So we can talk that in the program today. And then I like the fact that you said manage. You're managing, because there's a whole lot of leadership involved at every level that makes the Army's award program run, right? Commanders have tremendous amounts of responsibility in this process and this program for recognizing units and soldiers. So I like that you said manage, because we're not some, robot at the top of the system just making these rote decisions up here. We're part of the whole Army family, meant to really take care of, recognizing just outstanding achievement across the board. But let me throw it over to Chief. I don't know. I'm doing the whole honor right here because Chief seems to know everything about awards. We're really lucky to have her on the team. But Chief, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to be part of this podcast. CW4 Patricia Wickstrom. I've been assigned to the team for 2.5 years. 30 months. Not that I'm counting, sir, but yes, I've been part of this
30 months. She got you beat, Greggy.
I say, who is sir? I am the I'm the policy chief for the awards and decoration branch. My job as a policy chief is overseeing the changes and the updates to AR 600-8-22. We also manage and process exception to policy staff actions for the regulation. Anything that's an exception to current policy that comes through our office and our team. Also, I serve as the primary advisor to my high-speed boss, Major Grecky Fielder.
Nice.
I love it, right? Sir, so basically, I'm excited to be part of this team and making change for the Army because our job, what we do here affects the whole Army and the awards program, and it's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like you said, it's fun. I mean, it's a hard job. There's a lot of inquiries, right? There's a lot of things in play all the time. And then, it's just, at the end of the day, they're pretty rewarding, right?
Yes, sir.
Taking care of folks and being able to help award units and soldiers for just outstanding things. And then even, we'll talk a little bit maybe about, relooks too, right? There's always relooks of awards and other special projects that we're tasked to do, which are just, I don't know, makes it really, I think, a rewarding, job to have in the AG Corps and in the Army. So we're lucky to have you, Chief. That 30 months, maybe we can extend it another 30 months.
Yes, sir.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. Just kidding. But great to have you on. And then, Dennis Christensen, one of our fine civilian employees here at H.R.C. and at ADB. You do a whole lot, right? Policy analyst, superstars probably in the job description. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, thanks for having me, sir. Again, I'm Dennis Christensen. So I've been with Awards and Decorations Branch for just going on 7 years. 4 of those now coming on.
7 years. Okay, he has you beat, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Not with knowledge, but time. So I'm sitting at right around 4 years on the policy team. As you said, we kind of just manage the awards for the Army. On the policy side, we see more regulation-based things, exceptions to policy, as Chief mentioned, foreign awards, foreign badges, sister service, data codes, things of that nature. So we kind of fall under an umbrella, but we have good support in our branch to be able to manage everything. Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for being here today, all three of you, and Dennis. Thanks for being on the team for such a long time. I mean, that expertise and that history really allows us to understand where we've been and kind of where we think we need to go as we continue to shape our ops to support the Army as we move forward. Okay, so I got a bunch of questions kind of on the docket here that I want to ask, and we can talk about. So let's kind of start with unit awards, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Afghan Retrograde Awards, HKIA for short, and then we can talk foreign badges. And then maybe a little bit about named operations as well. So some of this stuff, right, has been out in the Army, right? We've seen some stuff in Army Times, we've seen some stuff in social media. So part of this just talking through it for the teammates in the Army, and then highlighting some new things. So Chief, maybe talk a little bit about unit awards and what's new and what we're working on, and maybe just a little bit about the unit awards program for the Army.
For the unit awards, historically in the past, unit awards has taken anywhere from 18 months to 24 months to get completed from start to finish. As you stated, by the time the unit award is complete, a lot of the soldiers have departed the organization. And this is due to the fact that the multiple agencies that the unit award had to go through prior to. So once our office receives the award, it goes before the board. Once it leaves the board, it goes to the DCSG1 for approval authority. And basically, once the award departs HRC, it's out of our hands. We can't really suspense the outside agencies, i.e. the DSCG1, CMH, TACOM, and et cetera. So basically, those were some reason why the awards were taking longer than usual. So when our team came on, we did like a decision brief, a mission analysis brief, like, hey, how can we make this better for the field? How can we approve this, getting the units awards out there to them so the soldiers can know, hey, that this award is approved and you're authorized this unit award. So in an effort to reduce the timeline, our team came up with, hey, versus having quarterly boards, let's do monthly boards. And by having monthly boards, it's basically allow us to get more awards to the board. And they don't have like a pile of awards to approve at one time. Yeah, right. Then we can push it to CMH, sir, so they can start the process so they don't get backlogged. So these are things that we started to utilize within our section to improve the processing of unit awards, and it has reduced the time frame. And also another initiative that we put in place was, once the award is back from the DCSG1 approved, we're going to issue a memorandum for wear. It's not an official document that's going to be able to be posted in the soldier's IPERM record, but it is letting the command know that this award has been approved and the soldier is authorized to wear it, and basically just pending the official orders once we get the CMH lineage and heritage back, sir.
Yeah, but I think that's fantastic. I mean, from my perspective, it's always taken a little bit of time to do unit awards. And if you've been in the last 20 years, as you deploy, most units do unit awards. So some of that stuff takes a lot of time, and there was always a comment on, man, I got to wait until, the entire thing's finished to then wear it, and then try and track down soldiers wherever they're at, some separate, et cetera. So you guys, I think solved that, in a certain case, by allowing that. And you recently put out a MILPER that authorizes that, right?
Yes, sir. We put out a MILPER message to let the field know, hey, this is our new initiative. This is what we're doing to ensure that the soldiers get recognized prior to their partner organization, sir.
Yeah, and that's just good news, I think, overall for folks in the Army. And then, you guys moving the board, right, to a monthly cadence. Little more work, honestly, for you guys, but I think it was absolutely the right call, because it's, how do you start to move the actions that we have, inside ADB just that little bit faster, and then get it, go into the G1 and everywhere else it needs to go to get approved. So that's awesome innovation on your point, on your team's part. So what goes into a packet? Give me like the 5 W's on, okay, if you're in a unit, what goes into this packet, and that gets up here to HRC.
Sir, the packet includes the DA Form 7594. That's basically the unit award recommendation. It's a 6-page document. This document needs to be routed through the higher headquarters and the intermediate level command authority prior to being submitted. The unit has to consolidate a narrative and a citation, and then you have to complete a page of all the units listed that was part of that organization or during the operation on that 7595, and then it's submitted to us.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then so if you just are listening to this Tag Talks, like, where can you go find that, like, written down? Is that on the webpage? Is that?
Yes, sir. So we have the requirement listed in our regulation, AR 600-8-22, and then also if you go to the HRC Awards and Decoration webpage, we have all the information that's required for a unit award and unit award submission to HRC outlined there. And I recommend the field go to the webpage for the latest and greatest information pertaining to any awards update for our branch. Sir.
Yeah, makes sense. So that there's the plug for the website. That get on out on the website and see that. I'll probably circle up here in about a month or so with another tag sends that has that link on it too, just to highlight it specifically, and then we'll put the MILPER on that changed the wear parameters for unit awards as well. You guys are just doing good work there. Just want to say it out loud. Hey, let's talk HKIA. So Afghan retrograde operations, HKIA, we call it a lot of things. Maybe just talk a little bit about what the guidance was coming out of DoD and what we've done to kind of process those actions.
All right, so in reference to the HKIA unit award for the MUC, a lot of, with the SecDef and the POTUS directive that was published August of 2021, it waived a lot of the requirements for a unit award. Like for the Meritorious Service Unit Award, the MUC, it's required that the unit needs to be OCONUS and at least six months on ground. But with that directive, it waived all of that. It waived the requirement for us to have a unit board. It doesn't require the DCSG1 approval because it was already approved by the POTUS, correct? Right. So that allow us to expedite the award process. So basically this month we're looking at getting it versus 8 to 9 months. Now it's going to be like 3 months. Units should be able to get their award recommendation saying, hey, your award for the MUC has been approved and your screamer and all that stuff published.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, sir.
And I know you guys were running working groups and really getting G1s out in the Army to understand, even on the joint side of the house, understand what was needed for those awards. So obviously you're moving pretty quick and getting those through the wickets and getting approved for units that were involved.
Right, sir. So we already have our binding list from all the units. The list is already at CMH being processed for them to verify the unit heritage and lineage. So we're moving. Our timeline we're right on time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's talk foreign badges. Woo, foreign badges. Okay, who wants to take that one?
Mr. Christensen.
Yeah, Dennis. Yeah.
Got it.
So,
Yes, sir.
so hey, I'm always really interested in foreign badges. There's a lot, first and foremost, right, that are available for commanders to utilize and shape how they build cohesion in their units. But maybe just talk a little bit about that, and then we can talk maybe a little bit about what's kind of transpired over the last couple of months with foreign badges.
Yes, sir. So AR 600-8-22 has two appendices, Delta and Echo. Delta covers foreign badges, and Echo covers pretty much all other foreign decorations, whether it's an award or service medal. So with that being said, our website, again, here's another plug, it's a live document, so we can consistently update that versus the regulations. So just a note to the field, always go there first to see if it's in there, because those are already approved. And with that, we allow 07 and above field commanders to be the final approval authority on the acceptance and wear memorandum. However, into the kind of our most recent issues we've had with the foreign badges, and really it comes down to we were made aware through a couple inquiries to our office of some badges starting to pop up that were essentially charging a fee to the soldier. These weren't specifically charged like the unit, where it was kind of predetermined through G8 and everything that funds were allocated for this. These were, individual soldiers, cadets, paying out of pocket for these. So it kind of prompted us to kind of start looking into those specific ones as it regards the United States Code, not so much just DoD and Army policy. So as far as that goes, all we can say specific to those, and I know there's a lot of people in the field wondering about those specific two awards. They're currently pending a legal review. We just want to ensure that if soldiers are paying a fee, it's not breaking the law, not breaking the United States Code. And then second, Chief brought up one day a good point. We hadn't even thought about that point when we were doing our review, and that is, how does paying a foreign entity possibly relate to a soldier getting a security clearance in the future, or that investigation process? Could that kind of slow it down? What could it do? So we're kind of looking at it from a different perspective for a second, to one, ensure we're protecting the soldier while also trying to maintain the integrity of the awards program.
Yeah, sure. And a couple things in play for me. I'm a big commander, kind of guy. I generally, trust commanders in their decision making. So in this case too, it's like, hey, we want to push that ability and authority, as best as we can to approve these types of awards, while also doing the legal checks to make sure we're safeguarding, so we don't, kind of break the law in these cases. So that's why we're doing the security check, we're doing the legal check, et cetera. But at the end of the day, we're going to land pretty heavily on commanders' discretion as they take a look at these badges and how these badges are awarded, and the reg kind of highlights that. So, and then in the rewrite, right, as you guys are working on the rewrite of the reg, we'll make sure that some of the stuff is outlined in the way that it needs to be based on, your staffing. And then, for folks out there, I've asked the team, hey, get a little engaged on social media. So we're really trying to push the information flow as to many avenues and areas that we can, so folks are educated on all of the things that the tag is doing. So, ADB and awards is just one area. And so that's why we've have a little bit of an uptick on engagement out there. And in this case, we're just working through the details. But we're going to land pretty solidly on supporting commanders' discretion as we move forward. So, Dennis, thanks for always being involved.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes the answer is not what soldiers ultimately want, But there's a lot of things in play that we want to make sure is legitimate and safeguarded as we execute this policy for the Army. Let's talk a little bit about named operations and what kind of awards you get for named operations. I mean, this tends to be, Chief, right, a question that's always asked. Hey, I'm going on the Operation Atlantic Resolve, right? Or I'm just deploying. I'm deploying to Poland. What am I authorized, in that kind of an operation or that kind of a mission set? Maybe talk a little bit about that.
So in reference to the Operation Atlantic Resolve, currently, because it's not considered like an official name operation that's listed in DOD, there was an exceptional policy that was submitted through USERA G1 for them to get the overseas service ribbon. So for these organizations, these are units that are mobilized, and their mobilization starts at home station, either at Fort Bragg, Fort Bliss. So that time really don't count to their actual deployment when they go overseas to participate in this operation. So the G1 there submitted an ETP, and it was approved by the G1 to allow them to be able to receive the overseas service ribbon for their time served in Atlantic Resolve. And with Atlantic Resolve, a lot of, for the field that don't understand that the reason why this exceptional policy was approved, sir, is because once the soldier deployed to Germany, they're go to Poland, Romania, different places, and each location has a different requirement for tour completion. So the DCS G1 waive all of those requirements regardless. So you can be in one location for 4 months, but if you serve that particular time, 270 days, and even though the requirement is for 12 months, you're still authorized to oversee service ribbon.
Yeah.
As far as like the HSM, the FSM, those requirement has to be approved by the SecDef. So once the COCOM comes back off of that deployment and they feel that their unit or that actual operation meets the requirement, they could submit up to the SecDef for approval for them to receive those type of awards for those non-name operation like that are listed on our DoD website, sir.
Yeah. Again, another plug for the website, right? You got a lot of this stuff kind of hanging on the HRC website that explains this, right, Chief?
Yes, sir, we do.
Yeah, we're just nudging everybody listening that that's probably a good first starting point. If you're in an S1 shop and you're deploying, hey, take a look at that website to see, hey, this is what I'm authorized. I know before this session today, we talked about personnel annexes in the middle of the war and, what G1s put together, et cetera. A lot of times we used to see that information in those personnel annexes. But, always, right, the help button is the HRC website, and then the help button beyond that is probably you, right, Chief? Or Grecky or Dennis, because I know you're always willing to engage with folks, asking questions and calling just to help out and level set. Hey, let me throw a curveball at you. We're about to go live with Ep.3, which is really exciting, for me. Seeing Ep.3 get out to the entire Army. What kind of changes have you seen on awards as we go live with Ep.3?
As going live with Ep.3, sir, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting to see that it's very transparent. And with Ep.3 and with all the capabilities of Ep.3, it would give we can provide more analysis to our commanders in reference to how many awards we processed that year, because those records will be filed within the soldier's KSD. The user manual for Ep.3, Chapter 17 for awards and decoration is so user-friendly. Basically, step by step, it tells you what happens if a transaction don't go, if the order don't get uploaded to the soldier's iPerm right away. It let the HR professional know right away, this is what you're going to have to do. You have to wait 30 days for that order to be posted to that soldier's iPerm. We know that for a lot of the AG community, that's not going to be working for a lot of people for boards and stuff, but it let the HR pro know, hey, now I need to submit a trouble ticket or whatever so we can get this fixed. So it's very transparent, very user-friendly or whatever. And then the soldier knows. It's no more like, so I'm excited about it, sir,
yeah,
and the way ahead. And for the awards that are processed here with that HRC Awards and Decoration Branch, it's a little extra more steps to our process. But it's very, it would eliminate a lot of phone calls like, what's the status of this award? What's the status of this award? Because that HR Pro or that S1 pool can go into Ep.3 and say, hey, it's currently at the ADB. So that would eliminate some phone calls to the S1s or to us. They can see where they're awarded throughout the whole process.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing awards inside of Ip.3,
sir.
which I think is the exciting part, and that transparency of, hey, the AAM or the ARCOM, it's here. The soldier can kind of see that, which, again, that transparency I think is good for the Army, and terribly exciting for me just to get it onto the the shelf per se, get it in play for the Army and for everybody out serving in the Army. So pretty exciting. And you said Chapter 17 in the Ip.3 user manual. There you go. There's
Covers
the
awards and decorations, so I'm excited.
there's awards and decorations. So if you're an S1 or a G1 out there and you don't totally understand the awards process with Ip.3, there you go. Chapter 17 lays it all out. And complete your HR Pro training, because I know there's a section in there on awards and how those are processed. So Grecki, maybe just tell me a little bit about some broad trends that you've seen after you said 19 months, but it seems like forever that you've been here. And then I think we'll close the tag talks for this session.
Broad trends. So for awards that are not processed within the time frame, so by regulation, we state any awards that are not processed within a 2-year time frame, it has to be referred by a member of Congress. So for those retroactive awards, often they are sent to our office without the proper signature. So even though that commander who had authority to approve the awards at that time no longer has that authority, they still have to endorse the award. So that soldier's former chain of command, or if it was for, a combat award, their former, wartime chain of command, they still have to endorse that award. And so I don't think the field understands that. So we often have to return awards for signatures, as well as, additional support and documentation. Other trends.
Well, two years, right? I think that's a stomping point, right?
Yes,
so if you go
sir.
past the 2-year threshold, right, then you're doing a different process.
Yes, sir. And and sometimes it's a little frustrating for the field. We've had to engage, although we cannot direct a commander, a former commander what to do. We do try to, assist. So sometimes I do have to send an email to a G1 and say, hey, this soldier or this, leader is trying to get an award, a retroactive award processed. I understand your commander no longer has that authority, or, your supervisor no longer has that authority, but they, they do have to endorse it. So please, let's take care of this soldier and get this award, signed and processed.
Yeah, get those signatures.
Get those signatures, exactly, yes, sir.
Yeah, but another plug, right? So I'm sure that is on the website as well, right?
Yes, sir.
So you got some clarifying information there. So if you go past that 2-year threshold, and then the help button, right? You can call the team here, and we can walk you through if you have some big questions. Dennis, what were you going to add?
Major Fielder already answered it. So we've been getting a lot of inquiries lately along with that 1130 process and the chain of command. There is times where you may run into a scenario where one of the intermediates or the approval that, as Major Fielder just mentioned, has to sign it may be deceased. In that scenario, we tell them to fill in the information and if you can provide an obituary. And then there's sometimes former commanders that just do not want to sign it for whatever reason. And we tell them at that point you can just put that commander's information in there and a simple note, wasn't willing to even provide a recommendation or something at that point. But that was really it with as far as the 1130 process.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you're working with folks, right? So you give them some options here as they're working to process this, because at the end of the day, we're trying to recognize soldiers for doing great things and not trying to be overtly bureaucratic on our team. It's almost exactly the opposite. It's like, hey, how do we get all this packaged so we can process it together? Hey, I'm extremely happy and enthused that we got this done today. Thanks for all being here. Grecki, Chief, and Dennis, you do a fantastic job supporting the Army. We don't always pat you on the back, but I know the heavy lifting that you're doing to do all the above of what we just talked about today. So thanks for being here and being part of the team and taking care of soldiers. And, hey, if we're going to leave everyone with a couple of thoughts, it's, hey, check out the website, because the website has everything. IPSA is right about to happen. So chapter 17, get in the fight, and figure out, the specifics. And then, if all that fails, you could probably call Grecki, Chief, and Dennis, and they're going to answer your phone call and help you out.
Yes,
So.
I'm the only one in Global. Greg Fielder, easy to find.
That's right. Yep. That's right. So, coming to a close here, appreciate you listening to Tag Talks. Looking forward to doing these over the next couple of years here in the Tag. So, this is Tag 63, signing off. Onto the the shelf per se, get it in play for the Army and for everybody out serving in the Army. So pretty exciting. And you said chapter 17 in the IPSA user manual. There you go. There's
covers awards and decorations. So I'm excited.
There's awards and decorations. So if you're an S1 or a G1 out there and you don't totally understand the awards process with IPSA, there you go. Chapter 17. Lays it all out, and complete your HR Pro training, because I know there's a section in there on awards and how those are processed. So Grecki, maybe just tell me a little bit about some broad trends that you've seen after you said 19 months, but it seems like forever that you've been here. And then I think we'll close the Tag Talks for this session.
Broad trends. So for awards that are not processed within the time frame, so by regulation, we state any awards that are not processed within a 2-year time frame, it has to be referred by a member of Congress. So for those retroactive awards, often they are sent to our office without the proper signature. So even though that commander who had authority to approve the awards at that time no longer has that authority, they still have to endorse the award. So that soldier's former chain of command, or if it was for, a combat award, their former, wartime chain of command, they still have to endorse that award. And so I don't think the field understands that. So we often have to return awards for signatures, as well as, additional support and documentation. Other trends.
Well, two years, right? I think that's a stamping point, right?
Yes,
so if you go
sir.
past the 2-year throreshold, right, then you're doing a different process.
Yes, sir. And and sometimes it's a little frustrating for the field. We've had to engage, although we cannot direct a commander, a former commander what to do. We do try to, assist. So sometimes I do have to send an email to a G1 and say, hey, this soldier or this, leader is trying to get an award, a retroactive award process. I understand your commander no longer has that authority, or, your supervisor no longer has that authority, but they do have to endorse it. So please, let's take care of this soldier. And get this award, signed and processed.
Yeah, get those signatures.
Yes, get those signatures, exactly, yes, sir.
Yeah, but another plug, right? So I'm sure that is on the website as well, right?
Yes, sir.
So you got some clarifying information there. So if you go past that 2-year threshold, and then the help button, right? You can call the team here, and we can walk you through if you have some big questions. Dennis, what were you going to add?
Major Fielder already answered it. So we've been getting a lot of inquiries lately along with that 1130 process and the chain of command. There is times where you may run into a scenario where one of the intermediates or the approval that, as a Major Fielder just mentioned, has to sign it may be deceased. In that scenario, we tell them to fill in the information and if you can provide an obituary. And then there's sometimes former commanders that just do not want to sign it for whatever reason. And we tell them at that point you can just put that commander's information in there and a simple note, wasn't willing to even provide a recommendation or something at that point. But that was really it with as far as the 1130 process.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you're working with folks, right? So you give them some options here as they're working to process this, because at the end of the day, we're trying to recognize soldiers for doing great things and not trying to be overtly bureaucratic on our team. It's almost exactly the opposite. It's like, hey, how do we do we get all this packaged so we can process it together. Hey, I'm extremely happy and enthused that we got this done today. Thanks for all being here. You know, Grecki Chief and Dennis, you do a fantastic job supporting the Army. You know, we don't always pat you on the back, you know, but I know the heavy lifting that you're doing to do all of the above of what we just talked about today. So thanks for being here and being part of the team and taking care of soldiers. And, you know, hey, if we're going to leave everyone with a couple of thoughts, it's, hey, check out the website, because the website has everything. You know, Ep.3 is right about to happen. So chapter 17, you know, get in the fight, you know, and figure out, you know, the specifics. And then, you know, if all that fails, you could probably call Grecki Chief and Dennis, and they're going to answer your phone call and help you out.
Yes,
So.
I'm the only one in Global. Greg Keyfielder, easy to find.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So, yeah, coming to a close here, appreciate you listening to Tag Talks. Looking forward to doing these over the next couple of years here in the TAG. So this is TAG 63, signing off.